I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second All Pro Dads Breakfast of the year. As a reminder, our mission is to provide dads and male role models and their children with opportunities to strengthen their relationships with meaningful, intentional time together. And just as we have here, this is an intentional time together. Our breakfasts are, of course, one avenue to promote that. It also allows you to find out what upcoming events we have and listen to a dad's story for encouragement. This Thursday, however, is more of a throwback Thursday as well. 8 years ago, a colleague and friend approached me with starting a dad's program. And he had a vision, and that vision has held strong 8 years later. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Sam Fryer to say a few words and to introduce our guest speaker this morning. Give him a hand.
Good morning, everyone. You guys have no idea how wonderful it makes me feel to see so many dads here. And Miss Angie, I was getting ready to call her something else, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, but she is right. First, 8 years ago, I did all the research about the All Pro Dads program, and I said, Angie, I want to go ask Dr. Collins, but I don't know. She immediately said yes. Then I needed help. And Angie has been phenomenal, always a support, and it's even more organized, looked like when I was here, because usually I'd be around sweating with my shirt hanging out, stressing, making sure all of y'all are in here on time. So I want to thank her and Dr. Collins just for allowing and supporting my vision and for continuing it on. And I just want to say to all you dads, a lot of you will be coming to South Florence, hopefully in a couple years. And if I'm there still there, prayerfully, we will have programs such as this. We are trying to start a program for dads that you will hear about later. But I'm home today because I'm back at Greenwood Elementary. But you guys didn't come to hear Mr. Fryer. No, I want to tell you about a man. He has many titles. He is a husband. He is a businessman. He is a brother, a son, an uncle, a cousin, a great-grandson, a grandson. He is the celebrity of Florence. Who is he? All you got to do is watch television, and in a 30-second commercial, you can see him and his family grow up and older in front of all of us. Who is he? He is a man of integrity. He is a man of character. He is a man of passion. As I said, he has many titles, and recently the state of South Carolina blessed him with the title of senator. But that is not why he's here. He is a man of faith. He is a man of honor. He is a man of integrity. He is a man of purpose. He is a man of essence. He is a man of nothing but goodly godliness. Who is he? He has so many titles, but there's no title that he holds closer to his heart than the title of Papa, Daddy, Dad, Father, Man of the Hour. And there are two children walking around this great country of ours that can say, that's my daddy. Boys and girls, fathers, men and male role models, put your hands of love together for one of the greatest fathers and examples of a positive male role model. We know him as the man on TV. Two people call him Dad. We call him Senator Mike Rickenbaugh.
Okay. You know, I actually, for a few moments there, I began to wonder, who's speaking this morning? Because I know it is not this guy. You are way too kind, but yeah, that's many of the things he said there I might aspire to, but I'm not. It is an honor and it is a pleasure to be with you all here this morning. It warms my heart to see you. I know so many of you in this room, and many of you I don't know, but there's a lot of good men in here. And I know you're good men without even knowing you, frankly, because you're here. You are intentional. You're deliberate enough to be here when there are about 1,000 other things that you could be doing. I'm not going to talk long because I never want to overstay my welcome here. By show of hands, quick question. Has anybody ever seen one of our family's commercials? Okay. And the reason I ask that is because that is the facade. Like, frankly, that's fake. And people see that and they're like, man, you got it all put together. You and your wife and your kids, you really got it nailed down. Folks, that is the farthest from the truth. Sharice and I have been married 25 years. Olivia is 20. She's at USC. Our son's, he's 19. He's a freshman at USC. And those commercials, we've cut hundreds of them, hundreds, maybe even close to thousands at this point. And we do them on a green screen sometimes. Sometimes we do them out on a lot. Henry, he's been there when we've done many of them. The finished product looks really good, but I have a 60-second video that is a glimpse into what real life is like. Can you play that quick video right here? And this is unadulterated Rickenball right here. And you got to have sound to it. And hit pause for a second, because I need to probably give a little context. We're home for Thanksgiving 2 years ago, and my sister's home. We're staying in her basement, and we're upstairs, and our son starts screaming in the basement. Just screaming bloody murder. And I'm thinking he's playing a video game or something, and finally he calls us from the basement. He says, I need you to come down to the basement, and he's screaming bloody murder. And to this point, he's 17 years old. He's a grown man, right? Yelling like a child. And we get down there, and it turns out he says there's a bat. So I look for anything close that I can grab, and the only thing I can find, and I'll have them start this over, is a laundry basket. And that's all I could find. Now, everybody here know that bats are pretty quick. But when I find this laundry basket and I go downstairs into the basement, that'll give you a context for the video. So if you could start that over, it's only 60 seconds. It'll be short. And that's my wife behind me. And our son's saying it's trying to attack him. So. And he's under the blanket. 17-year-old man under the blanket. And I'm trying to get it with a laundry basket. And there's my son, my grown man linebacker running up the stairs. I captured the bat. I feel like a hero. Look at me. I'm like the gladiator. And I hope you can see him in there. And he's hissing at us. He's hissing. Yeah. So the bat crawled out. I go up the stairs. I push my wife out of the way. I push my daughter. It's a bat, and it's hideous, and it's hissing, and it is buzzing us over and over. 2.5 hours, folks, it took us in that basement because the bat got angry. It was 2 in the morning. I didn't want to get rabies or lockjaw. That's real life right there. That's the unadulterated, no commercials cut right there. And I'm here to tell you that life is hard. And I'm older than most of you dads in here. Again, our kids are 20 and 19, so I'm older than many of you. And a few things I've learned, and I'm going to hit them pretty quick, but a few things I've learned. I'm not going to tell you they're the way that you're going to father, or that it'll even be helpful to you. But a few things that I've learned to be, try to be the best dad I could be, and I hope it encourages you at all, or food for thought. And the first thing is to try to differentiate between being a dad who's led by emotion and a dad who's led by devotion. And the reason that was so important for me is because, I don't know about any of you, I have had some really bad days. Really bad days at the office, really bad days in my marriage, really bad days as a father, really bad days running for Senate, just bad flat out days. And when those emotions kick in, it is the worst version of me as a dad. Those are the days that I say things that are really unkind to my kids. Those are the days that I don't say I love you in the morning. Those are the days where I don't treat my wife with respect and my kids see that. Those are the days when I'll snap at them when the question is, Dad, can I go do this? I'm like, no, I said no. And it isn't with love. It isn't with compassion. It isn't with the spirit I want, but it's the spirit that is driven by emotion. It's the anger. It's the pride. It's the frustration. It's the exhaustion. You name an emotion. In 25 years of marriage and in 20 years of being a dad, I have had to struggle between being led by emotions and being led by a devotion. And the devotion side of it is it says, regardless of how I feel, I'm going to try to speak with love. Regardless of what I'm feeling, I'm going to discipline in love. Now, my kids have needed plenty of discipline over the years, right? But when they need discipline, there's been times I've had to step away. And I'll say, you know what? You go to your room and I'll come back when I'm ready. Because I know at that moment I am so flat out angry that my actions and my words and what I do is going to be based on my emotion, the anger, the disappointment, the sorrow I have for their decision making. And it's not led on devotion that I made early on of I'm going to discipline them with love. And it's still going to be discipline, and the actions and the consequences might still be the same, but the spirit where it comes from is going to be very different. So I learned it, and I fail at it. I remember one time I was dropping my wife off, my daughter off at volleyball, and she had wanted me to come pick her up early because they were going to be doing really hard drills. And I was like, Olivia, I got a lot going on. I really can't do it. And she grabbed her backpack, and she jumped out of the car, and she turned around, and I don't know if I can say this word, I probably shouldn't, but she turned around and she's like, Dad, sometimes you really, you tick me off. Sometimes you really tick me off, but it wasn't nearly as kind a word. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and our eyes met, and she knew that she had crossed the line that she should have never crossed. And I was moments from jumping out of that car, and it was going to be a real issue at the high school parking lot. But I realized that I was better served saying, Olivia, we'll talk about this tonight, and going home. And we did talk about it tonight. And I had went to Walmart, and I picked her up a flip phone, and I took her iPhone, and I took her iPad, and I took her laptop, and I took her, everything changed for her for a good 60 days. But it was the spirit in which I did it. So the emotion versus devotion. The second thing that I've learned as a dad over the years, and I still fail at it, is grace. And that is grace for my kids. That is grace for me. That is grace for my wife. That is the grace to understand that I will screw up. You, as a dad in here, unless you are the second coming of our Savior, you will screw up. But when you do, have grace. Have the grace to say, I messed up, and then have the confidence as a father to go to your child or your wife or your whoever is in your life and say, can I have a moment? I owe you an apology. I'm sorry. It is a unique dynamic to apologize to an 8-year-old because you're their parent. You're the adult, but that doesn't mean you're perfect. And the lessons that I've taught my kids by being able to say, would you accept my apology? Would you offer me the grace that God gave me that I need because I made a mistake? And there will be so many times my kids have, in the years after, have said, you know, now that we're older, we want to thank you for being able to come to us. Now, that's hard. It would get caught in my throat sometimes because, like, I'm the dad. I pay for your entire life. I brought you into this world. At least I was part of the equation. Like, I am your father. I don't have to apologize to you. And you know what? I don't have to. But it doesn't mean I shouldn't. And the moments when I would have that grace and I would go and apologize to them, and quite frankly, the real power of apologizing to my wife in front of them, teaching them those teachable moments, even when I didn't want to, even when I would own the hurt, and own the I'm right here. The times when I would go and say, honey, I'm sorry. And kids, I want you to know that I'm sorry for the way I spoke to your mom, and I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you. I would just encourage you to consider having that grace for yourself, but then the willingness to go and apologize and let them know that you are fallible and that you are human. So it's the emotion versus devotion. It's the grace. The third thing, and we'll be out here in just a couple minutes. The third thing is finding your own moral compass. I can't tell you what it's going to be for you, but I know for me, it had to be a biblical-based parenting. Because my own fallibility and my own spirit, my own emotion will betray me. And I mean betray me. My own emotions, in 50 years on this earth, my own emotions have and will continue to betray me if I listen to my emotions. But a biblical compass, everybody here knows what a compass is, right? It shows you what due north is. And that compass, that biblical compass, moral compass, helps me understand that even when I don't want to do something, how I am to respond. I remember once, and our daughter was probably at this point 7, 8, 9. She was in those years where she was very jealous of my time because I was her daddy, and she was a daddy's girl. And there was a time when I was home, and Isaiah, our son, was home, and Sharice was home, and I had asked Sharice to do something like, hey, Sharice, while you're near the room, can you grab me a glass of water? And these are the days when, 7, she would sit on my lap, and we would just talk, and we'd read, and Isaiah, he was more off doing things out in the yard, but Olivia would be that. And Olivia was on my lap at the time, and she said, yeah, Mom, get us some water. Whew, okay. Now, I got my little girl who's looking at me with her big doe eyes, who just disrespected her mom while sitting on my lap. And it was one of those moments where she's my little girl, but from a biblical principle standpoint, my wife is above my kids. I love my kids all day long, but it isn't my heart that says it. My God says in His Word that your wife is above your parents, they're above your friends, they're above your siblings, and they're above your kids. Man, I had to take her off my lap. Olivia, okay, this stops now. We're going in, you're going to apologize to your mother, and you're going to be disciplined for this. I love you with all my heart. I'd give my life for you, but you will never disrespect your mother like that again and think that it's going to be okay. That isn't because I wanted to do it. That's because the Bible's really clear in my life as my moral compass that if I allow her in my relationship to circumvent my wife and I's relationship, it is going to mess up the entire equation of our lives. It's going to teach her bad lessons, my son bad lessons, and frankly, it's going to be a bad lesson for our own family. So that would be the third thing, is having that moral compass and whatever that's going to be. And the very last thing that I'll end with is prayer. And I know this is a public school, so I'm only speaking from my own experience here. All of the things I just talked about, the living as a parent on devotion over emotion, and to having grace, and to having a moral compass that is due north regardless of how you feel. All of those things sound easy for me, but they're not. They're hard. And the one aspect that helps me accomplish them more than I failed, and I failed plenty, was prayer. I mean daily prayer. And I miss days. I skip days, especially as a younger dad, because you're so tired. You're working. You got this responsibility. You got to go here. You got to go there. But the times when I'd get up in the morning, and I would try to take 10 minutes and say, God, help me be the dad you called me to be. All things come from you, and they're returned to you. So if these are my children that you bless me with, if this is my spouse, that my helpmate you bless me with, if this is my life, help me do it unto you. Give me the grace, because if you called me to be the dad, then I know then you're going to give me the provision to be the dad you want me to be. Doesn't mean perfect, but you're going to give me the provision. And those prayers that I would be a daily part, as often as I could remember, a daily part of my routine, I have no doubt helped to get to where I'm at right now as a dad, from the standpoint of hopefully looking back and saying I did the best I could do. So those are the 4 things I'd like to end with there. I am proud of all you for being here. I don't know if am I allowed to say a quick prayer over them? I got the mic. So if you don't want me to, certainly raise your hand and don't, and close your ears here. But I do have the mic, and until the shepherds crook me, I've got it. And I'm just going to pray like, God, I would pray that you would be with every man here, every dad, every neighbor, every uncle, every friend. Give them the provision to seek you as a father, as a husband, as a parent, whoever they are, as a worker. Lord, I would pray that you would give them the provision, give them the counsel, give them the grace, give them the willingness to seek you first, or seek their moral compass that through the word, wherever they're going to find it, Lord. But I would pray that you would have your hand on each one of them as a father, that they would have the ability to apologize when they're wrong, to stand up when they're right, to discipline out of love and not out of anger. And Lord, help them every day realize that if you've called them to be the dads and the influencers in these young people's lives, you will give them the provision, because you love every man, every child in here more than we could ever love these children, Lord. So then give us the provision to act out that love in the way you would have us, to make you proud, to give you the glory, and to make them the young men and women that will be knowing that they are loved and they are cared for, Lord. We thank you for that. In Jesus' name. Lord, thank you all for letting me be here this morning. I am proud of you. I'm glad to see you here. Keep doing what you're doing. If you do find a bat in your basement, don't use a laundry basket. I'm telling you, the holes look small, but those bats are agile right here. That's the video shows. But thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such a powerful message, Mr. Mike Rickenbach. We now have our All-Pro Dad captain, Mr. Scott Zolwinski, who has some information for you, and he's going to share an exciting event coming up next week.
All right. Thank you. I am your All-Pro Dad chapter captain, and as things stand right now, that's just a title. And I'm so glad to meet the guy behind the vision behind this. It's wonderful. Thank you for spending time with your children. So important, and I think just the encouragement we've had this morning just reminds us that we got to keep good people around us, and you being involved with your child's life is so big a part of that. I want to show you a quick video because I have an invitation for you next week. I stumbled on this yesterday, and this video is actually how I got hired. My kids are all grown and in their 20s, but my heart is with the role of men in their children's lives. So this was sort of how I got hired as your captain, but we have more things that we need to do ahead. So if you just watch this, I did a father-son ministry called Mats to Men. We're going to have that available to you next week, but we'll watch this and you'll kind of get a feel for what it's all about. If we can up the sound, maybe.
And character education for boys 4 to 12, using the world's oldest sport of wrestling as a platform for community service and student leadership. Wrestling, not the male soap opera from television and pay-per-view, but the world's oldest sport offered in high schools, colleges, and the Olympics, is hardwired into boys almost from the time they can walk. For boys, wrestling comes as natural as digging in the dirt or climbing trees. Regardless of your past experience with the sport, you will quickly learn the basics, becoming a coach and helping other men become lifelong encouragers and mentors. The 6 to 8 week beginner-friendly sessions combine fun, competition, and community service that bring neighborhoods together long after the season ends.
It's very important that we support programs like this because we want to keep kids out of the criminal justice system. We don't want them to get in trouble. A program like Mats to Men will keep our young boys from getting into trouble where I don't have to deal with them except in a positive way.
Organizing a Match to Men club where you live is simple. The club is designed for adult volunteers who may or may not have any experience with the sport of wrestling. The techniques and match rules for wrestlers are extremely basic, and the Match to Men training curriculum makes it easy. If you have 3 or 4 adults committed to seeing character education, mentoring, community service, and student leadership initiatives planted in their local community, then you are ready to start your own Match to Men club. Visit matchtomen.org to request a starter package. That's men.org and request a starter package for your community. The results will affect generations to come.
All right, so our next slide, we'll just make this real quick. I want to mention one thing. I got an email yesterday from Miss Angie Haddle, and she was basically reminding the team that puts this on where everybody needed to be. And what I'd like to do real quickly is just all these folks that are on staff here at Greenwood Elementary that put this on and make this something that's a blessing to you and your family. Let's give them a round of applause, because there is a team of people that do that. Yeah, thank you. And I found out is there are resources that are so good, but I need a small group of people that would like to help me to organize it. You have to know how to update a website, and I know most of you are maybe too busy for this, but if you've been thinking of a way that you can get involved with supporting this program, please come see me. And I'm so glad to meet Mr. Fry. He's an answer to my prayer. Do we have the slide that shows the sports camp? Next week at Grace Baptist Church, I think most of you have it, we're doing a mini version of Match to Men. So hopefully we'll be able to get you that information. And the second thing is if you are willing to help to start organizing our side of supporting the staff here with All Pro Dads, I would really love to talk to you. So I know you all need to get back to class. I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Angie, and hopefully you'll see this flyer up here shortly so that you have all the information. Oh, and one last thing. There's a dad in here with a daughter that's saying, what about the girls? We have not forgotten the girls either. So we have opportunities for them, and so thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Before we go to our closing remarks and our prizes, our tickets, I would like for our principal, Dr. Collins, to say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is probably one of my favorite school activities and events that we do. You gentlemen just don't know. In the eyes of your children and all of the educators and employees here at Greenwood, you are highly respected. It warms our hearts. We know that just by being here, your actions speak louder than you can imagine, to your children as well as to our community. Men have such a special place. Our culture doesn't always recognize it, but we all know deep in our hearts, all of the women, all of the children, that you have a very special place in our society, and we recognize you for that and we honor you for that. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate, thank you, Mr. Rickenbaugh, for being here and your message to everyone. Give yourself grace. Give yourself that opportunity to check yourself with, we all have to do that. Those are just good life principles, to check ourselves with our emotion to our devotion, and setting that moral compass. Your children are watching you. They just shine all day after you leave. So we are so grateful that you take the time when we have these breakfasts. And we do encourage you, if you've had just any little inkling that you would like to get more involved, Mr. Zielinski, we so appreciate. I lost him. but his willingness to step up and be part of this, he's got a call on his life to be our coach, and he needs some assistant coaches to gather around him for our children. And we're so glad to see the wrestling program being brought into the area, just another way that our children can get involved and be active. And Mr. Fryer, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you and Miss Haddle several years ago starting this. And so it is unique to Greenwood. Thank you for helping us shine and helping your children grow in a way that makes them feel secure and confident, knowing that those people in their lives that love them are here and take the time to be with them. Thank you. Miss Haddle, we got some prizes.
We do have overflow in the media center, so I have someone in the media center who will radio if the number is called in the media center. So Dr. Collins, if you'd let me know. And we're going to go ahead and start drawing. We have our prizes on the stage. So when your number is called, please let me know. All right, the first winning number, 528-6705. 6705, the last 4 digits. Do we have a winner in here?
Me? Did I hear a me?
Did we hear a me? No. All right, we're going on to our next one. Tony. All right, next winning number, 5286639. 5286639. Oh, a winner in the media center. All right, tell them to come on down and pick their prize. Next winning number, 528-6675. 528-6675. Is that the first one? Yep.
No, there's someone from the media center.
Okay.
Here's our media center. This is the second.
All right, come on down, and the prizes are over here. And another winning number, 528-6644. 528-6644. We have a winner. Awesome. One more winning ticket. 528-6622. 528-6622, and we have a winner in the back. Awesome. All right, again, thank you so much for coming this morning. If you would like, welcome. Dr. Collins would like to give one last message.
Please feel free to walk your children to class. They would love for you to see their classroom. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.